Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Brandon Wicker, and this is Michael Sakala. It looks like he's busy over there. We're coming to you from Rosati's in South Fort Myers, where we're helping them sponsor their No Kids Hungry program. For $10, gets you one of these nice little shirts here. And you can buy one of these shirts, it'll feed 100 kids. So that's what we're doing here today. And maybe sooner or later here, my partner might join me. I'm not quite sure what he's doing. What's going on?
I got this new headset, from Foxborough. Apparently there's a little mistake in this thing. They're not working correctly, but like they say, it can happen anywhere. Sorry about that, everyone.
Were you getting the gain in there? What's going on?
It was a bunch of static. I really couldn't understand somebody. I think I picked up a radio station. So how are we doing, sports fans?
Hey, we just had the announcement and everything. I didn't know that was going on with you. You're having all this trouble. And since we mentioned this game, let's just go right into it.
Now I know what Tomlin felt like. Now here we are, like you said. What did you take out of the Thursday night game?
I'm gonna go with a couple things that I heard them say that is not even true. Okay. We have Chris Collinsworth telling us that Bill Belichick always takes out the team's best player. And they all agreed it was Antonio Brown. Well, here's his stats for the game. 9 catches, 133 yards, and a TD. I think it's safe to say they did not take Antonio Brown out of the game. Not the game I watched. Other receivers, 84 yards for the tight end, plus 50 for the other 2 wideouts, 351 yards for Ben. So, am I worried? Last week we kind of left the Steelers out of the gig in the AFC North. I didn't want to comment on that. We're not saying that it's just the Ravens and they're not going to get any fuss. Cincinnati and the Steelers are going to give trouble. They're not just going to lay down. You had Pittsburgh missing some players. And now here's the other part I saw that cost them the game, and it was shocking to me that you would come into your first game and your defense doesn't even know their own signals. You had 2 catches by Gronkowski for a touchdown where the man wasn't even guarded.
I know, I seen that.
Now, if your signals are that mixed up, you have something going on you need to fix bad. Okay? So I'm saying it wasn't so much a superiority. I was going to go so far as to say that the Geno Smith with the broken jaw could have thrown them passes, but I'm going to hold off on that one.
Yes. Now, some of the things I took from that, people are going to agree or disagree. I wrote down here, Tom Brady's a bad man. Let's be honest. The offseason.
When you give anybody all day to throw, they can be bad.
That goes down to some of my other points, and I also put here Gronk is definitely a matchup nightmare, let me say. And Pittsburgh's defense is pretty weak. And also, Ben needs to talk to his offensive coordinator. I know they ran the ball, but they seem to get away from it. Do they need to pass all the time? I get it. He's got all these weapons. He's got wide receivers. But they were running the ball effectively. And the best way to stop an offense is you don't let them back on the field. Run the clock. Work on that. I don't understand why they got away from the
I'm a little less worried about that than you because their number 1 running back didn't even play.
I know, but they were still being effective. I think,
And he ran Williams ran better than he had when he was a rookie.
Yeah,
he ran for 127 yards.
I think from a running back standpoint, they got 2 really. Like I said, Bell comes back, and Williams showed he could be a very.
It seemed to me that if they get their signals together and can put a little pressure on a quarterback, that's going to help them.
Yes.
Otherwise, it is going to be Ben throwing the ball for 500+ yards and 6 touchdowns to win a game that he's going to have to outscore.
You're absolutely. And we said this last year before the Super Bowl, when you're playing the Pats, somebody, I'll put the helmet on if I need to, needs to bone up. They need to hit those wide receivers. Gronk, you need someone right in his face, and in that first 5 yards, you need to just try. I know he's big, he's the Gronk. Just try to hit him and abuse him as much as you can. Take him off his rhythm. You can't have him, match up wide out against a 6'2" little guy, and the guy doesn't even barely hit him. Nail it. I don't understand why nobody hits these guys. Brady gets no pressure. Because if you ever watch, the teams that always beat the Patriots are the teams that play aggressive defensive football. The Giants did it twice in the Super Bowl. Last year we seen the Dolphins week 1 did it. You get aggressive and you just hit these
In my opinion, it's not necessarily the size of the guy,
but you got to hit him.
But the speed of the guy.
Yeah, you got to hit him.
Because the bigger they get, the slower they are. So if you put a big linebacker on Gronk, you usually have trouble.
Yeah, put a safety.
That's the guy who has to nail him.
And have a safety for backup to wait for him.
You need some speed to stay with him.
Well, now, before we get into week one, I like to serve up a little other news, maybe do a little overhand or backhand, it's all according to how you want to serve that ball.
Are you talking about this?
Unfortunately, poor Serena Williams, unfortunately cannot complete her year-long Grand Slam. She ended up losing to, her name is Roberta Vinci, a 32-year-old Italian young lady, and I mean, it was almost like watching Rocky against Apollo Creed out there. I mean,
Absolutely.
What is this? Who even knew this kid? Who is she? Nobody even knows. And she goes out there.
She's just about growing up out of tennis, age-wise.
She takes out, maybe in the modern age, the best tennis player we got. Even with the guys. I mean, obviously can't beat, but there's no name bigger than her right now.
They had her ranked 42nd. She was 300 to 1 odds of winning.
Yeah,
So,
it's a shame because, I mean, you want to see that. You really don't want to. The pressure. I mean,
the pressure totally got her.
I do think that the history was on her shoulders and she just really couldn't handle it. And it's a shame. But, I guess I feel bad for the next time she plays because I assume she's going to take it out on that next person. And some other news, I mean, in the boxing world, or some of us like to call it aggressive dancing, there is a major fight this weekend. Money Mayweather's 48-0, and he'll be facing up against Andre Berto this weekend. Andre Berto, is that, am I saying his name?
Must be going after win 49.
Yeah, and you have to assume he's going to get number 49. There's talk about retirement, and I have to think, and just like the rest of us have to think, there's got to be a number 50. And if there is a number 50, it has to be, it must be, a rematch of Pacquiao.
You mean we're going to do another rock and sock?
Oh, I have to think, and now this fight, this rematch will be worth $1 billion.
Whoa, say it so.
Shortly in baseball, I mean, all I have to say is that the Mets and the Blue Jays, they just keep on winning.
And again, you seem to be enamored by the Mets, and that's fine. Okay, I'd like to give you a little shot about my Cubs. Okay, I'm having a great season with a bunch of rookies. 82 and 58 at this point, which would put them in the leader in all other divisions except the one they play in. 7 100ths of percentage points behind Kansas City for that division.
I think that when
unfortunately, they're in the tough division, whereas it looks like the Mets, because the Nationals just laid down against them. And the only thing that's coming out of that division is the division winners. So it looks like the Mets will be in just by that, unless they have a complete collapse.
Yeah,
I'm going to have a play-in game.
I think the playoffs are going to be unbelievable. And the playing games, I think, is it safe to say that the Cubs probably would end up playing Pittsburgh?
We would probably end
That's
up
going to
playing
be a
Pittsburgh.
great game.
Pittsburgh's 4 out or 6 out.
Yeah.
Cardinals.
So here we are, week 1. It's finally here. We get to enjoy football once again.
Oh, did you hear the news?
What news now?
The criminal let go by the 49ers, Aldon Smith, is now a Raider.
Really? So he went from
Smith.
one nightmare to another. All right, well, good for him.
Projected to start against Cincinnati on Sunday.
Perfect. Yeah. What was his problem? What was he always arrested for? Drinking?
Drunk driving.
Drinking?
Had to go to some psychological problem, ADHD stuff.
Put him in a padded room.
It's like Brandon Marshall had.
Perfect. Put a helmet on, give him a padded room, and tell him to make flower pots. Just what we need. Hey, who you got this week? Who you going with?
Well, I made myself a little list so it wouldn't clash with yours. And I know for sure I'm going to stick my neck out on the Monday night game.
Ooh.
I'm going Minnesota over San Francisco.
Wow. Baby beater over the walk-off.
As of this morning, it was a 3.5 favorite for the 49ers. The home plus 5.
Yeah.
0.5, I should say. And I'm going to go one for Florida. Jacksonville over Carolina.
Wow. That's a big one. Now myself, I mean, we got the Miami Dolphins are heading to Washington, and Washington's going to be the home dogs. Miami's -3.5, and the D for Dolphins stands for defense. Got to assume we're all waiting for the combination of Cameron Walker and Dominican Sue.
Cameron Wake.
Cameron Wake? Yeah, I always mess up everyone's name. Now, the disruption they're going to have on this already weakened offense, they're just going to knock down Kissing Cousins all day, and he's going to throw, I would say, minimum at least 2 to 3 interceptions. And then get this.
So the problem is going to be is there going to be no running room for Morris.
No,
Miami stops the run.
I think Miami's defense is going to just completely destroy.
The Cousins will have to throw, like you said, be sacked.
It's just going to completely destroy that defense. And then the Dolphins, believe it or not, they actually may have an offense this year. This could be a year that Ryan Tannehill.
People laugh at him, but he threw for like 4,300 yards this year.
This could be his breakout season. I mean, he's got plenty of weapons. I got wrote down here: Jenkins, Steele, Parker, Miller, Landry, Matthews. But I do look for the Dolphins. I don't see them getting all explosive. I think they're going to run the ball and try to control that clock, and basically had Tannehill basically becomes, what do they call it? I believe a game manager. I'm going 27 pins on that one. My second game, I got the Saints traveling to Arizona. And Arizona, again, is the home dog, because the Saints are plus 2.5. There's some injuries we got to think about. For the Saints, C.J. Spiller's out, and two of their defensive players, their top safety and Keenan Lewis, the cornerback's out. One of the key players coming back for the Cardinals is Carson Palmer. And look for Carson Palmer to light up that defense with smoke and fire, which is John Brown and J.J. Nelson. These two guys, get this, John Brown runs a 4.3, J.J. Nelson runs a 4.2.
If the Saints can put no pressure on Palmer, his line looked a little weak to me, and when I saw in the preseason, I don't know what they've done, but if they can, the Saints, I don't know what they picked up on their front seven, but if they can't get to Palmer at all, he could have a field day.
Well, you have to already assume, but the Saints already have a pretty weak defense to begin with. They're starting two rookies out in the back this week, and to try to cover these two speed guys, you're right. But if you watch what Carson likes to do with these two guys, is he hits them with a quick outs.
He's home run balls.
He hits quick outs, and then every now and then they'll go deep, and with that kind of speed. And then you got to put in the traveling factor. I did some research. The Saints have not won in Arizona since 2000. And the last home opener road game that the Saints won was in 2006, and that was barely edging out Cleveland. And then on the flip side, I see the Cardinals shutting down the running attack for Saints altogether, and they're going to force Brees to throw, which we all know he likes to do all the time.
But they have a formidable secondary.
But the thing is, what Brees doesn't have this year is his security blanket. Jimmy, he now plays for Seattle. So I'm taking the Cards 31-20 on that one.
Okay.
Now, there are some exciting other games to look forward to this weekend. One of which, like I wrote on the top, the Colts and the Bills.
I almost took that one.
I didn't want to pick it.
Bills.
I didn't want to pick it, but I think that's going to be very exciting to watch.
My favorite for the Colts on the road.
I think the Seahawks and Rams game is going to be another good one.
Too.
We got the rookie versus rookie with the Bucks and the Titans.
KC versus the Houston Texans is going to be another good game.
The Broncos and Ravens.
Defensive fight.
I have to, because they're my boys. My boys are playing the G-Man. That's always a classic.
That's going to be a good one.
And then we got the Genius. The Birds are going to Hotlanta.
What have I told you about this Genius stuff? Don't get me ticked off now.
Yeah. And then, like you were picking later,
you gotta
if you stay up late enough, you're going to be able to watch the baby beater against the walk-off. Which I think that I wouldn't be surprised if somebody, he doesn't take a stick to his ass and he runs for 200 yards plus this game.
What am I going to do with you?
Well, now we got a special treat, everyone. We're going to be doing the tailgate menu.
Yes.
And what's on our menu this week? Let me put on my tailgate hat.
Well, Rosati's has been kind enough to make some for the producer. Bear balls.
Wow.
Yeah, Chicago Bears, that is.
Wow. Well, let's see. What do we got? Look at these.
Who gets the hot?
I'll take
That would be my partner.
And these are the sweet and spicy.
All right.
Yeah, sweet and spicy.
Look at
Look.
this.
Enjoy.
Were these meatballs, or are you just describing us?
Spicy. Very good, very good. He's a classic.
Wow.
He's a classic.
Holy moly.
Boy, it looks hot over there.
Woo. It does, but they look incredible.
How hot is it? The habanero one?
No, that's just spicy.
No, his.
It's a hot.
Can you handle it?
Wow. Love me these balls. Wow, are these good. I got to tell you, these are, the kick, it gets you out and now getting the kick. Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, sport fans, whether you're into football or not, you got to come down here just to eat these meatballs. They're absolutely amazing. How's yours?
That's a spicy meatball.
Yes, it is. I'll tell you what, this is unbelievable.
Yes, come down for the Bears game tomorrow.
Who do the Bears play tomorrow? I forget.
Right here, son.
Oh, that's right. Unfortunately, I guess the Bears will
Why-
start their season off.
Why do you think I'm being so quiet today?
Oh my God, I'm telling you. Well, sport fans, enjoy your Sunday. Come on down, have yourself a meatball. Gotta love it.